Your end of June market update is here, but I'm also going to touch on what's going on nationally in the luxury segment and then compare that to what's going on in the luxury segment here in the Sarasota, Florida market. So please stay tuned to the June market update video. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to go macro and then micro. So, with a focus on the luxury segment, because I've got some great listings in the luxury segment. We're seeing some great activity despite what people think that summers are slow. Do not listen to that. That is not even true. Florida is not as seasonal as we were years ago. So we sell property all year, you price it well, and the buyers will come. Looking at this really great report because I'm a member of the Institute, and the Institute designation that I have is called the CLHMS, Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist designation. I'm actually in the top tier within that group called the Guild. So that makes me a luxury marketing expert. And within the Institute, they put out these really great reports, both year-end and monthly reports. And I really just wanted to touch on that because I think real estate kind of starts from the top and works its way down, and it's a good indication of what's really happening in the economy. So I wanted to kind of give you a broader perspective and then really kind of hone in on the Sarasota market and the Barrier Islands and what we're seeing here. So according to the Institute, the affluent buyers, what is going on with them? What I gathered from my notes and reading this report is they are remarkably resilient, and generally speaking, they value real estate as a store of wealth and still do, and I think will do so into the future. And so that was the biggest takeaway. Despite declining inventory, they're feeling like, and not maybe not just luxury buyers or the affluent buyers in general feel like despite the lower inventory of properties that are available to purchase, there's less of a frenzy to like rush out and have multiple offers, and properties aren't selling in 7 minutes. That's just not normal. So I really do feel, and I've felt this for a while, that we have entered into like this normal flow, just a flow of normalcy and kind of what it used to be like, with some changes, with some differences, I would say. And what it says here is traditionally declining inventory levels would be expected to restrict transaction activity. But fewer properties available for purchase typically result in fewer sales. However, the luxury market is behaving differently in 2026. As I sit here toward the end of June 2026, I personally feel like there is a little bit of a slow first part of the year, and I'm feeling like an uptick here as we sit in the middle of the year 2026 with just a spike in calls and showings and pending listings, myself personally, and just in that luxury segment, especially like seeing properties sell in the 2 to 3 million price bands pretty consistently, right? Between Anna Maria, Longboat Key, some on the mainland, mostly the Barrier Islands, I would say I'm seeing pretty consistent changeover and pendings and closings in that price band. And like I said, they're really, despite the mortgages and the mortgage rates and the economic uncertainty, what's going on overseas, and what's happening with inflation and just different political events that kind of pop up throughout the year, the affluent are feeling wealthy due to their businesses, due to the stock market. The stock market's kind of done this, but really overall kind of been up is what I'm seeing. And so when they feel wealthier, they tend to make moves. I mean, and they're also the affluent buyers in 2026. Like I said, they're looking at real estate as a wealth preservation, and they're also still considering it as a lifestyle, right? So anytime I'm talking to a brand new buyer who has no familiarity with the area, for example, and they're looking from Anna Maria to Minnesota Key, And it's just like they'll just gravitate toward one island very quickly, I've found, because of their lifestyle. And they might love Anna Maria because their biggest thing is they want to be able to golf, get on a golf cart and just go everywhere. Or they want to be on Anna Maria because they want like that really churn and burn high rental occupancy type property. Or they might want to be a member of the Longboat Key Club and golf. Like that's a very different feel, very different lifestyles and feels. Or they might want to be a little bit more secluded, a little bit more quiet on the north end of Minnesota Key, for example, where I have that fabulous listing, golf to bay, boating to beach, okay, behind the gates, easy on and off the island. And you're still in Englewood, so it's quiet. And the prices are lower than what that house would be on Longboat Key or Siesta Key. So the lifestyle is important. I sell properties to people that are, their biggest thing is being a member of a tennis club, and that they have to be close to playing tennis. They play daily. They don't want to drive so far. So it's lifestyle. If you're going to put your money somewhere in Florida, they want to be near the things that they love and enjoy to do. Lifestyle. The inventory scarcity and the long-term financial planning. Yes, these are all factors that are coming into play. Like the decision to buy real estate in Florida is well, it's always been popular. It's growing in popularity for a lot of reasons. Prices have stabilized. We've got the homestead tax discussion. By the way, if you want to hear more about that, Mark and I sit down and talk about like how this is coming into play or potentially coming into play with the elimination of homestead tax in the state of Florida. So I know that's kind of up for discussion with some of the affluent buyers around the country, especially Florida, of course, where I focus on. And in this report, it's saying that 2026 has been unusually strong. Again, I'm seeing really consistent million to $3 million sales, right? We've had a record sale on Longboat. It was 30 million. We had a lot that sold for 6 million. I'm seeing more and more properties pop up here in Sarasota and our islands for 12 million, 15 million. And so those are really interesting to see. And then what else? Monthly, and just again, back to inventory levels throughout 2026 have remained below their corresponding levels in 2025. It creates a little bit of scarcity too. Like it's definitely, I think what we're going to see, and I haven't read this yet, we're going to see like it's technically a seller's market for Sarasota single family homes in Sarasota County. I know that sounds crazy, but it's we kind of have a nice ebb and flow here with new listings, pendings, solds. Like it's just a steady, healthy, like we're just riding this ride flow. It goes on to say under normal market conditions, declining inventory and reduced listing activity would suggest weakening demand and slowing sales. Instead, luxury sales have continued to increase, indicating that available inventory is being absorbed faster than is being replenished. And I do also think I want to add to that the sellers who were grossly overpriced, we don't really have a lot of those in this market anymore unless it's a really unique property in the more like the 7-8 figure kind of property where there's just nothing to compare it to, and it's just like you're just starting somewhere because you don't know. And so it's a little bit, I would just say, overall healthy and flowing. The article goes on to say, why are luxury buyers still buying? And it's kind of what I've already touched on. And it just says several factors. First, the affluent buyers often view real estate differently than the traditional consumer. I love that. They view it as long-term wealth preservation asset than a short-term investment, not your fix up and flip. I've never really been in the business of the fix and flip type buyer or investor. They tend to, I hate to say this, but it's kind of how I've felt over the years. They tend to run you around and it's just like numbers, and it's like they just want to, I don't know. I'm more interested in working with people that are going to use it, like maybe rent it, maybe upgrade it, really with the 5 to 10 year plan, and creating memories and just loving it and being excited to be here kind of buyer. And so we don't really have a lot of that. Again, it's more for wealth preservation, which I do love. And, some of these properties, especially some of these larger properties on the islands, they're generational properties. Again, I just keep going back to the one that's top of mind, the North Minnesota house. They've owned that for like almost 30 years. And so you've had, lots of family memories there, and it's a special property. And I love that. I love being able to sell the dream, sell the lifestyle of that, sell the boat, sell the beach, the sunset, just all of it. It's just fun. And it's more fun to me. I don't know. And that's generally more of what the buyers are looking for down here too, anyway. So, and then it just says the second factor is pricing. So affluent buyers, not just around the country, but here, they feel like they have more negotiation power, again, as compared to the craziness of 2020. We're 6 years past that now. So we've had a lot of time to settle into this. And, I think there's always going to be the noise of like what's happening with mortgage rates and everything. But this buyer generally, like most of these buyers, are paying with cash. And the cash could mean pulling from investments or the equities in other properties. So it doesn't mean they just have the cash just sitting not working for them. They generally have it in like a stock market or portfolio that they're pulling from. And so they just utilize it and move that asset from one asset to another, essentially. So they have more negotiation power, and it's just more favorable condition. In Sarasota County, remember, when I'm looking at the stats, we're not really considering condos in the stats because it skews things, because historically it's just all over the place. And so we're looking at Sarasota County single family homes to gauge really what's going on in the market. So months of inventory is at 4.4, which is technically a seller's market, because 5 to 6 months is like an equilibrium market, and anything over that is a buyer's market. To put it into perspective, this time last year we had 6.6 months, a definitive, I had to think about it, buyer's market. So at 4.4 months, we're feeling that. And I've had three properties sell in 24 hours. I have one right now that's pending that was only on the market 9 days. I have a vacant lot that I've got pending. It was only on the market 90 some days. Vacant lots on the islands generally take a lot longer. Now, granted, I am the second agent on it. The first agent listed it just way too high. I listed it appropriately, and we went under contract in less than 100 days, which is not really bad for a vacant lot. Hopefully it closes, of course. It's just pending right now. So cash sales are up 25.9%. I always wonder if that has to do with rates, but also Sarasota, remember, and I just got off a call with someone, a journalist who wanted to interview me about just the market here, the Sarasota County market, but she asked about Sarasota and Northport, because Northport's part of Sarasota County, and I told her, like, you really can't, there's no comparing those two, because Northport is so different than Sarasota, the city and the surroundings of the city of Sarasota. So when I explained that to her, I said, well, what I'm going to tell you is not part of Sarasota, right? So in Sarasota, we have a ton of cash compared to probably the national average. But then again, just so you know too, like the doomsdayers that are saying that we might have a crash, I definitely am not feeling that. And to the case in point about cash buyers being up 25.9%, 40% of Americans who own their home own them outright. So unlike the Great Depression, unlike the Great Recession, people were in over their heads as far as equity is concerned. And so Americans who own their homes are in a much better position as far as the stability of their housing ownership, I should say. Volume, dollar volume is up 10.9%, and that's great. A lot of times we get asked how many days on market from the time you list to the time can I expect a contract. I think last month was like 46 days. This is now 50. So it's like kind of creeping up, but like again, I just go back to like historically, if it took you 90 days to sell, is that terrible? That's not bad. That's not historically bad. So 50 days on average from the time you list to the time you go to contract is not bad. And therefore, to the time you actually close, 92 days. That's an average of what, 42 days from contract to closing. It sounds about right. New listings are up 8.7%. We could use the listings actually, so that's not bad. And so that's it. So, in a nutshell, the luxury market here is swinging. I've seen some record sales in the St. Regis, the condos on Longboat Key. I saw a house pop up for 15 million. I saw another for 12 million. I love to see it. We're still not Palm Beach because, I think the average on Palm Beach Island is just, I don't even know, 20 million? I don't even know. If you're thinking of selling, don't think that summer is slow. I'm telling you, I every single year prove that wrong. So summer is swinging. People are on vacation. They're here to spend money. And if they are here in the summer, they're serious, honey, because it's humid and hot. As soon as they get off that plane, it's like whoosh, the humidity. So anyway, I love being busy. I would much rather be busy. And I love getting the calls from you as owners and you as buyers. I'm here and ready to work. I love it. And if you own in Manatee, Sarasota, or Charlotte counties, please call me. I'd love to give you a no hassle. Like there's no like pressure salesy stuff here. This is just who I am. And I'd love to give you a free estimate of your property. Again, very large area, Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte. That's a lot. That's a vast area, including Lakewood Ranch. So you can reach me at 941-544-7690. I know I go over like generalization sometimes, but I hope that's helpful in understanding the market because real estate is so hyper local. It's just like even to the street, So anyway, I would love to hear from you. 941-544-7690.